just snatch him with the RTM at that money and you save 2 to 3 crores in that fashion. So he's definite RTM candidate, a supreme talent, and I think he'll come back to RCB.
All right, guys, let's talk about some of the released players for RCB in the IPL 2025 auction. So I'll first just say we won't be talking about Dinesh Karthik today since he got released as he just retired. Congrats to him on an illustrious career in the IPL as well as for India, of course. And next, we're going to talk about Faf du Plessis, the former captain of RCB. We briefly discussed him in our previous video about CSK, if you want to check that out as well. But yeah, he's been in a pretty solid form in franchise cricket this past calendar year. And there's a good chance, due to his age, that he could be relatively cheap at the auction this year. So what are your guys' thoughts on RCB potentially buying him back or RTMing him?
I'm not sure why RCB has released him. I really thought they would bring him back as their captain because he is one of the players who led them from that disastrous season and making disastrous in the beginning, but making it to the playoffs in the end. I thought they would like compensate him with like another year or two at the mega auction, giving him like if not the top money, maybe at least at 11 crores, that range. But I am really confused on why they would let a player like that go, who is now having a great tournaments around the world, almost winning like many of the leagues that he has participated in. Yes, his age is a big factor, but again, we've seen how fit he is. I feel like he can be playing for another, if not many years, maybe 1 2 years for sure he'll play more.
See, I can tell you want RCB's purse to be punctured, but like just hold on for a second because last mega auction itself, he only fetched 7 crores and like two people walking on a street alone. There was only CSK and RCB bidding for him for most of the time and no one else. So now let's say we have the RTM in place, right? If CSK bids, I know other teams want captains, but if CSK bids and let's say max 2 or 3 other teams join, he's not going to go over 7 8 crores. But if we wanted to retain him here, we had to spend 11 or 14 crores to retain him, and I think that's way too much of a price for Faf at this point in his career, where he's even 3 years older than before. Yes, I get he's as fit as anything. He has beautiful six packs. Everyone praises him, all that stuff. I mean, he's as fit as anything, winning trophies. That all is good. He's an outstanding player. I don't question his ability one bit, but I don't think he'll go 11 crores is my only point, and that's the only reason I'm good with them releasing Faf and trying to buy him back in the auction, potentially using an RTM. I don't know if I'd use an RTM if he goes past a certain price point. I try and buy him back to my ability so I can still keep that RTM up my sleeve for some other players who might go more than Faf. But he's a quality player, no doubt about it. It's just I don't think he warrants the 11 crores. So please, puncturing the purse is not needed right here.
Yeah, it's completely valid. The Faf, I mean, as we previously said, he's just been in really solid form. In the Major League Cricket, obviously, he was the leading run getter. In the CPL, he was top five in runs. So there may be a couple of teams that will go after him this auction, but the price is yet to be determined, as we know.
Yeah,
So
for sure. I think max he'll go 7 8 crores, which would, even if we want a RTM or buyback, it's 3 4 crores save. So in that way, I think it's fine to let him go back and buy him back. I don't think he'll be that expensive.
hmm. All right. And we mentioned him in the previous episode. If you haven't watched that yet, please do. But Mohammed Siraj, DSP, he's surprisingly did not get retained by RCB after uh, kind of a down year to his standards. He had a great year in the year prior, picking up 19 wickets, but he was still tied for the highest wicket taker for RCB, but bowled a little less economically. What do you guys think? Should RCB have retained him, or do you think they might
This one,
RTM
this
him?
this release was a big surprise to me because he did a lot of great work for RCB. I mean, RCB did give him a lot of chances too, but he lived up to his expectations. Except last year, even though he did give up a lot of runs last year and his economy was little high, but he still had one of, if like not the greatest years, but the decent year that you could expect from any bowler. But yeah, that this release came as a surprise because he's been with RCB for many years, and I really hope they use that RTM card on him. At least like maybe like 9-10 crores. Also, I think they should buy him back.
Yeah, this one is bit like sad for me as a RCB fan. I feel like he's one of those other cornerstones of the team and one of the identities in the bowling attack. And he's been touted to be the next Vivian Richards also. So I don't know why they wanted to release him. But I mean, jokes apart, I think Siraj is one of those guys. He just blows hot and cold, and I don't know if we can expect him to bring the consistency over, but thing is, as an RCB fan, I'm kind of sad they let him go. But if we retain him, we'd have to pay him 14 crores. The thing with Indian fast bowlers is they've been on the rise in terms of demand. So I don't know if we can get him back with 14 crores. I think he might go more than 14 crores, especially with the low supply of Indian fast bowlers. I know there's like Shami and Akash Deep, but he's one of those international quality fast bowlers that you want to keep in your side. So that's one omission I'm a bit worried about, but I can see why they did it. I feel like they want a bowler who's more suitable for pitches like the Chinnaswamy. Siraj has gone for runs there, so maybe they're looking for a better option who can bowl at the death, because Siraj is primarily a new ball bowler who does go for runs at the death. So I think they want more of a death bowling option there. But yeah, thinking of all the interviews he's given, the Mr. Nags videos he's made, it's kind of sad to see him go back in the auction. But I think definitely RTM candidate. If he goes under 14 crores, even 1 rupee under 14 crores, we should put the RTM card for him. He's an Indian quality fast bowler. I think we shouldn't let go of him. Even if he goes 15, 16 crores, I'd consider putting the RTM for him just because of the low supply of Indian bowlers in the auction. So, but I think RCB is definitely considering an RTM for him. He's coming back home.
I really hope so.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm sure
Hopefully he's not. Hopefully he's
all
cheap.
of the yeah, I'm sure all of the RCB fandom is hoping that he returns next year and for the years to come. So, all right, let's talk about Glenn Maxwell. Absolutely hot and cold. When he's hot, he is absolutely on it. But when he's cold, he is ice cold. And last year, purely ice cold. He was taken out of the lineup after being unable to basically cross 10 runs for multiple games to start the year. Was probably one of the many reasons RCB started as cold as they did. But yeah, he can bowl a couple overs. He can bat exceptionally when he's in form. So, what do you guys think? Should RCB attempt to bring him back or just let the auction run its course?
Yeah. This one was again one of the most surprising releases that I feel personally,
Really?
because I really thought the career-wise that he had with RCB, like not the year before, but like the 2 years ago, when he just came from Punjab Kings, he was doing very bad in Punjab Kings, but that confidence, that I'm not sure what confidence he got from RCB, he started like like very hot for RCB. He took wickets with the ball. He gave runs with the bat. And last year, I think we all expected him to be starting hot after what he did in the World Cup,
Yeah,
the
that incredible
2023.
knock, 200
Eh,
runs. That's crazy.
Yes, that I thought he was going to be pretty hot last year, but unluckily, RCB didn't get that form of Glenn Maxwell on their side. But I feel like Glenn Maxwell is gonna again. He's the type of talent he has. He'll go. He RCB will try to RTM him again, but I don't think RCB can get him. I have a feeling RCB won't be able to match his price.
Yeah, we thought he'd be a rocket, and he just never left the ground last year. I mean, I don't know what to say. Watching those first 8 games was misery, and just watching him getting bowled to straight balls, googlies, just found ways to get out, just looked a shell of himself of how he looked in the World Cup. That knock against Afghanistan, I can tell you, best ODI innings in ODI history. There's an argument for cricketing history as well. There's been some outstanding knocks, but to pull off a victory from that situation, batting with the tail. I know Pat Cummins is an established, like he can bat, but batting with a number 9 batter and basically scoring 80-90% of the runs in a 200-run partnership to save your team out of nowhere, and potentially that's what took them with that confidence and momentum to beating India in the finals in the World Cup. That's simply astonishing, and he's that kind of player. If he's hot, he can win you any game. He can win you a tournament. But I mean, after seeing last year, man, I just don't, I just don't, I just feel like I don't want him. But thing with him is, if he's in form, he'll win us games, and I'll have that RTM in the back of my mind for him just because of that game-changing ability that he brings. And I know everyone says he's flopped every season. Everyone says he's flopped, and I myself am like pretty angry at him and pretty sad with him. But I feel like if depending on the order of the auction, if Faf goes a bit less, then we're able to buy him back and not burn an RTM on Faf. Or if we don't use an RTM on Faf, I'd maybe use an RTM on Maxwell if he goes less than 10 crores just for the pure game-winning ability. I know I was like shaking my head and nodding at the start when he mentioned Maxwell. That was just the initial feelings. But actually thinking about it, he's such a game changer. I mean, if he goes to another team, I think he'll flop. So it's better to just have his career get better again at RCB. But depending on the price, I think 10 crores or less, think about the RTM. If he's more than 10 crores, leave him, let him go to another team. We'll see how he does there.
All right.
That he might do bad in other teams, but let's see.
Yeah, bookmark it, guys. Everybody come at
Only
Rahul
team he'll do good in
after.
if he goes is CSK, in my opinion, but that also I can't confirm because of the pitches there and the slow nature of the pitches. He might be a good bowler there.
Y'all CSK players, just comment on Rahul if he does something better.
Yeah, come back to this one. Just troll him a little bit. But let's talk about Cam Green. They traded for him last IPL, and he had a pretty okay season. He was getting paid a lot of money. He struggled with some injuries since then, and he was not retained by RCB. Uh, I think I think the management said it was primarily due to the injuries, right? So, what do you guys think? Should they like try to buy him back? Do you think he'll go as expensive as he did? How much he was paid for by RCB last year, or
This one was not a surprise at all, like considering his injury and how we've seen other teams also try the similar. Like we could say, oh, they could have kept him, and like maybe the next year he could have come back and gave you some runs with the ball and the bat. Like this year, I think he can bat. It's just that he cannot ball. Uh, but he doesn't have that all-round abilities that he is known for. There's no reason that like a team would want him just for pure batting. Like is like he is known for the dual ability, right? But this came as a no surprise because we've seen like teams like MI go for injured players and like maybe keep them on bench for 1 year and then get them back later on.
Jafra?
Like then Jofra Archer, for example, we've seen how that hasn't worked out in their favor. So I think RCB also had the same feeling that why risk it with the injured player? We could just make. I mean, if they really want a player like Cameron Grain in the auction, they'll get him back for cheaper for sure. They'll get him back cheaper for what they have paid from what they have paid from last year.
This is one I really regret the timing of the injury and the injury that's popped up from because in my view he's a generational talent. Able to bat in the middle order at number 3. He's opened for Australia before as well. He's played some astonishing innings for Mumbai Indians at number 3. He's finished games for RCB at number 5. He's given crucial overs, 2 or 3 overs with the ball. And I know the impact player is there, but in case in the future it goes or something like that, this guy is a cheat code almost. I know he's a foreign all-rounder, but he's such a valuable player who if I was in the RCB management, would have loved to have back. And that's what the RCB management themselves said. Like they were really considering on retaining Cameron Green before the injury news came out. And it makes sense. the only reason they traded 17.5 crores for him was to look at him as a long-term prospect and not just as a one-year candidate. So I really feel bad about the timing of the injury, and there's no point in retaining him or buying it back for 8 to 10 crores or something if he has a back injury, which we don't know the severity of, and we don't know if he'll be the same Cameron Green after he comes back from injury, because a back injury can be severe for a player, and you never know how he can come back from that. So I think the only option was to release him. It's too big a risk to take.
That's fair enough. We hope Cam Green can recover and hopefully be back at his best very
Yeah, he's a
soon.
quality player.
Absolutely. So next person we're going to talk about, Will Jacks, the boy wonder. Every RCB comment section last year was flooded. Play Will Jacks. Click this button to play Will Jacks. It was a full out. Everybody wanted him to come in, and when he came in, he was exceptional in some games. So they did not bring him back. Do you think they'll try and take him back in the auction or RTM him?
Yeah, for sure. He's the
Go
prime
ahead.
RTM candidate in my opinion, along with Siraj. I think those two are the main ones, and then the last RTM they'll use for someone who falls cheap or like a Maxwell or Faf or some piece like that. But he's one of the prime RTM candidates. Bats really well. He can bat at the top of the order at number 3. Can bowl you off spin. We saw how he got a red hot Travis Head out last year in against SRH in that game, and he can give you overs with the new ball. He can chip in overs here and there. And that 100 against Gujarat Titans last year was something of beauty, man. Smashing bowlers like Rashid Khan and Noor Ahmed on a decently sized ground, and also taking about pacers like Mohit Sharma. It was a thing of beauty to watch, and the acceleration he showed in that game was magnificent. And like you said, we were all like, play Will Jacks, and finally Flower decided to listen to us and play him, and he was one of the main reasons for the turnaround. I'm not worried that they didn't retain him though, because as I said earlier, 11 crores, 14 crores for a foreign batter who can bowl you a bit of spin. I don't know if that's worth it. I don't know if you'll go that much in the auction. I still feel he's a very underrated commodity, because the past few games he's not been doing a whole lot for England either. He's not been playing that great, so I don't know if he'll be coming in with that demanding that price. So I think he might go for 7, 8, 9 crores and just snatch him with the RTM at that money, and you save 2 to 3 crores in that fashion. So he's definite RTM candidate, a supreme talent, and I think he'll come back to RCB.
Yeah, I have like opposite opinion about them not retaining or retaining Will Jacks, but other than that, it's the same. Like I feel like they should have retained him because I feel like other teams are high in demand for players like Will Jacks who have shown what talent they have in IPL. Will Jacks was sitting on bench for like 2 years, 3 years, right? No one knew what talent he could bring to IPL, and once he did come into the picture, we've seen how destructive he is, and he is one of the primary reasons that RCB had the great comeback last year, and now teams are gonna be like hunting for him. Like I don't think he'll go under 10 crores for sure. He'll go above 10 crores for sure.
See, the only thing is, I think RCB was just trying to just keep the Indian core intact without shelling out price for the overseas players, because yes, Will Jacks is a supreme talent, but there's so many overseas players that can fill his role or attempt to fill his role in the auction that are there, who they can potentially get for a cheaper price if they want. That more later on that. But like, I feel even if he goes, it's not the end of the world for RCB. They can find a similar replacement. Yes, it's a loss, but they can find a similar replacement. But shelling out 11 crores immediately and restricting your budget might be an issue where you can't go for some of the more key Indian players that would fit the Chinnaswamy Stadium, who can make that ground a fortress, which RCB has not been able to do, unfortunately, for the past 16 years, 17 years.
Good one.
Yeah, definitely agree there. So let's talk about some bowlers. Vijaykumar Vyshak. So in the IPL, he's been able to take wickets, 13 wickets in 11 games, but he's struggled with his economy a bit, with it being over 10. Uh, but in general, he's done it pretty decently in the domestic circuit. So what do you guys think? Should the RCB try and get him back, or do you think he'll go for a decent price in
I
the
re
auction?
I think RCB like all the players that we're going to be talking about since now on RCB, I think that I agree with all their releases. I don't have any problem with that. But yeah, I think they should go back for Vyshak because he is a local boy for Bangalore. He knows how to play in that ground. We've seen how good he has been in that Chinnaswamy ground, where all the other bowlers have been leaking lots of runs, and he was able to prove himself in that ground. I think he has a good talent, and moving on, like he is a good player that they can groom. But it's a good release because I think they can get him for like base price too if the luck is on their side. So I think
Yeah, I don't know about base price because he's been called up for the India South Africa T20I series as well, so he's more in the scheme of the Indian setup as well. But yeah, it's a good release, like you said. I don't know if he's in the large scheme of plans for them. He's one of those players where if he goes cheap, just put an RTM on and bring him back kind of thing. Like just so you can save money and have that local talent. But yeah, that was one of the disaster classes of the first half of the season. Like, they just he played a good game and they just put him on the bench. I don't know if the policy was if you give under 40 runs in a game, you automatically go on the bench just to promote entertainment at the Chinnaswamy Stadium or something, just because to show that runs are being scored here or something. I don't know, but I mean, he played good and they still benched him. So that's something I didn't support. But yeah, the release is a no-brainer for me. I think he's one of those players, if he goes cheap, just bring him back because he knows the conditions, like you said.
All right. So let's talk about Akash Deep. He is a common or mainstay in the Indian Test team at this point, but I guess he's kind of not really found his place at RCB just yet. So should RCB try and buy him back or just let the auction run its course?
See, we'll talk about Akash Deep in our videos later on about the young Indian players who could be cheap buys. But to keep it short on him, I think he's a good talent. He can bowl good pace with the new ball, swing it both ways, trouble the batters up front. But issue is he doesn't have those death bowling capabilities. And I feel that assuming RCB will buy Siraj back, Siraj and Yashdale are locked in as the new ball bowlers. And so I don't see Akashdeep having a major role to play in his forte, which is bowling with the new ball up front at pace. And he doesn't have great death credentials either. So that's why I'm assuming they won't feel the need to go back for him. But I feel he can be useful for another team, and especially on a ground like maybe on a ground like Wankhede Stadium for Mumbai Indians, he's the perfect kind of player who will suit that conditions with the bounce he generates and the pace he bowls at. But I think for RCB, he's not needed.
yeah, 100% agree with that. I think he's not a great fit in the scheme of things for RCB, but he'll be great scheme of it for like teams like Delhi Capitals who don't have any bowlers right now. If they don't get any upfront bowlers, they can go for these domestic players. I mean, he's not domestic; he's a cap player, but I'm just saying like Indian players. There you go.
Yep, completely agree there. So next one is Anuj Rawat, young player for RCB. They've been trying to groom him for a bit, and he had a great first game this past IPL season, right? But since then, it just went downhill, and he wasn't able to get going. I think he got dropped. So should they keep trying this experiment with him, or is it time to move on?
I think that was great release by RCB. Personally, feel like they have given him enough chances, and especially the ground of Chinnaswamy, where other batters can score runs. I'm not sure why particular batter was not able to score runs. I mean, it could have been that it was his issue, or I don't want to criticize a player like that. Like he has talent, that's why he's up there. But I'm not sure. Like the reason he could not score any runs, they have given him enough chances. Like the first game he played, it on a paper it looks good, but when you look at the game and the game situation, that game should have been won like earlier than how they have won the game. So that still is a there still was a criticizable point over there. And I think it was a great release.
See, Sean, you were saying about trying. The trying should go both ways. You know what I mean? Like if the player tries to get the player and tries to support the player also has to try for the team. No, like that's fair. It has to go two ways. So RCB did their part trying, but Anuj Rawat, all he did was try, man. He couldn't really like I didn't see him perform that much. They gave him chances opening the batting. They gave him a string of 6 games. I think he had one good game against Mumbai Indians. That too looked kind of scratchy. Didn't look extra like totally convincing. And then they gave him at the death. Not gonna lie, I was a bit impressed with his finisher abilities. And I think he is one guy who can be groomed to play that finisher's role. And he's an excellent keeper as well. We've seen him like jump around, like take some really high balls and like keep pretty well. And I felt he was trying to be groomed into that keeper batsman for RCB, but it's just somewhere along those lines it just didn't click. After that first game against CSK, I thought he was a regular in that lineup, but then after that first game, it just didn't click. He just didn't show that talent. And if you, I think he was given enough chances, like Nanish said. He might be a better fit for another team. If RCB keeps going for him, it'll be like in the movies, the hero keeps trying to woo the hero and the hero just gets irritated and leaves. Like Anuj Rawat himself will get irritated and say, I want to go to a different team or something. So that'll be the story if these guys keep trying for him. So yeah, that's it.
Mm. Yeah, so the consensus is the time is up on that one. So let's talk about Mahipal Lomror, who has had his fair share of good knocks as a finisher in these past couple of years. But has he shown enough consistency to be taken back by RCB? What do you guys think?
I really liked him as a prospect and a player. Like before RCB got him, I saw one game he was like for Rajasthan Royals against RCB, he was an extremely good hitter of spin. He was able to take down Yuzvendra Chahal for around 3 sixes, and he has a really good slog sweep. He can play spin outstandingly well. He is one of those guys in the middle order who you can use to take down spin whenever you're in trouble or on a tricky wicket, maybe. But I feel he's same as Rawat. He was given a lot of chances, showed his ability here and there, but not someone you could trust on regularly. So I think a better team would be a better fit for him. And honestly, I feel like on I feel like he'd be a decent fit for CSK on those spinning wickets. He can be a Dubé type player to try and attack the spinners. So I feel like on a more turning track, just put him in, try and get some quick maximums here and there to try and boost the scoring rate. That kind of asset he can be looked at because his primary role is to hit spin and that's his strength. So I think that's somewhere he can be put into. What do you think, Danish?
Nothing. I agree with all the points you have said. I think whatever you have said is 100% correct, and he had been given enough chances. I think he covered everything. I don't have anything new to say.
All right, those are really good points about Lomror. And now we're going to talk about one of RCB's biggest problems from last season, in my opinion, and that was their overseas fast bowling contingent. As you know, they were rotating through these guys all throughout the year, starting with Alzari Joseph, who was leaking runs from the first game. As you know, Rahul, he's having a tough time hearing all these names again. It's a little PTSD for him. And we saw a little bit of Lockie Ferguson in there. He was somewhat better near the end of the IPL, but he was still having a ton of trouble, leaking runs as pretty much all these guys were. And Reece Topley came in for a little bit. He was not impressive. He had a couple decent games. And then there's Tom Curran, who unfortunately did not get any games, and which is kind of a surprise given how the others performed. But Rahul, do you want to take this one?
Bro, please, bro. Bro,
Start it
please,
off,
bro.
bro.
Don't bring this up, bro. I can't. I can't. Okay? Bro, first you give Alzari Joseph 11.75 crores, then you make him play 4 games where he's trying to bowl bouncers at the Chinnaswamy Stadium, thinking he'll bounce on the batter, bounce on the batter. He'll get bouncers. He'll try and hit someone's helmet. I don't know, scares some batters. Oh, no, everyone's scared of his pace. No one's scared of his pace. I mean, okay, he has some pace, but what's the point of the pace if you keep overshooting it and giving 4 wides? How many 4 wides did he give? How many 4 wides did he give? Bowling it over the batter. I want to know because he gave a ton. And if he didn't do that, he gave up sixes. If he didn't do that, he gave up fours. I can count the. I don't even know how many wickets he took, but it was nothing, absolutely a horrendous buy. They justified it by saying he'll get good bounce at the Chinnaswamy Stadium. He'll bowl good pace. The only pace that was there was the pace was flying off the bat for 6 and 4. That's the only pace that was there from Alzari Joseph. Just hearing
Yeah,
these names just
I
wants me to just I don't know, just thinking I want to run away somewhere, not watching them bowl. That's the kind of feeling I have
uh,
hearing these names. And
I
then
just want to say I don't have this much of bad impression on this player, Alzari Joseph. But because we've seen him do great things in other teams, I think he was just not a great fit for RCB in scheme of things. They are first of all, you cannot like criticize a player that he's leaking runs, especially the ground that they play in. You're gonna give up for some runs. But again, he was just not a great fit in the RCB scheme of things because we've seen how good of a bowler he is for MI when he got that. He's still the highest. He has the best figures in IPL, I believe. 6 for 18 or third,
That was
some
his
low
debut,
number.
right?
Yes, that was like. See, we
Wow.
like we seen him play good. It's wrong time, wrong place. There you go.
see, bro, I'm fine with you leaking runs. At least try something new. Every ball is going for bouncer, bouncer, bouncer. Like even on commentary, they're just saying, "Why is he going only for bouncer?" He's doing nothing new. He's not trying anything new. Not trying to bowl it full. Just trying to dig it in short and trying to get out of jail almost. Just using that short ball. Didn't try anything new. Was guaranteed 40 runs. I think for the opposition, he was a better player than for us in those games he played. I'm not doubting the quality of him on West Indies pitches, on different pitches, he'd be really good and suitable. But I'm criticizing the pick and how they actually had the thought of starting him for 3 games itself because he's just not the kind of player who can survive at the Chinnaswamy Stadium, and he was just not giving any effort. I'm not questioning his ability. He's played for the national team. He's got into the IPL. He definitely has some skill, but I just ask RCB fans, did they like that pick? I don't think anyone will agree with that. And I think
Yeah.
then yeah. And then there's our beloved boy Lockie Ferguson. I mean, to be honest, I like him a bit more. He was bowling some Yorkers, he was getting some wickets, crucial wickets here and there, but still the 40 runs bank is surety if you go there also. He was bowling like beamers in that CSK game, almost cost us the game. All these 4 overseas fast bowlers are absolute waste of money. Absolute waste of money. You could have tried to get one Gerald Coetzee or Dilshan Madhushanka for cheap in the auction. You didn't do that properly. You went for Alzari Joseph, who you thought his pace would fit well. It didn't. You went for Lockie Ferguson, who thought the pace would fit well. It didn't. Just because Gujarat Titans had both of those guys and won a title with them, we thought in this different RCB pitch, Chinnaswamy pitch, they'd work as well. They didn't. So hopefully from now they don't make that mistake and take bowlers who bowled decent at other conditions and try and find the kind of bowlers who would fit the Chinnaswamy Stadium pitches, because at the end of the day, that's where we're playing. You can't put a petition to try and change the home ground just because you're leaking runs there. So I think it's important to find bowlers who fit there.
I just want to say the same thing about Lucky Ferguson. Same as Alzari, exact same as what I said for Alzari Joseph. He just didn't fit in the scheme of RCB things because with the pace he has, just touching the bat with the ball at ground like Chinnaswamy, it's just gonna go for a six. He's just not a great fit. I think they should look for some medium pacers, not like speedsters like Lucky Ferguson. But yeah, both of them are in the same criteria. And then next up is a Reece Topley. He did good in the beginning. Like he got few wickets. He did good for them when someone else was injured last year. I forgot the name. What's his name? Rahul. Uh,
Uh, Reece Topley for someone injured. I
yeah,
think I think he was the one who was injured for like the last season. He injured himself, but then he
Yeah,
came
first
back in
game he
this
got
season.
hurt, right? In the
yeah,
previous
yeah.
season.
Yeah, and then this game, this he was there for the past 2 years with RCB actually, and I don't dislike his skill. He bowls extremely well the new ball at the death, but this again,
I
Chinnaswamy
think it was a good
Stadium, not.
release. Yeah, I think it's a good release from RCB.
Yeah,
And
he's the
next
one guy
up,
who I'd say has had something to do in the RCB camp. Like I think he
ne-
had some meaning there at least. Like it was a decent pick. They bought him for cheap. He was. I feel like he could have been decent, but
yeah.
again, same thing. Runs.
Unlike the next player we're going to talk about, Mr. Tom Curran, I don't
Mr.
know what he
Headband,
was.
Tom Curran.
I don't know what he was there for. I don't know why RC picked him. I don't know what, when, anything. I don't have, I have all these questions.
Hey,
would
one
you?
I
nice
think
vacation, I think.
I think they believed in the genetics, maybe that just because
Sam
he's
Curran,
Sam
Tom
Curran's
Curran.
brother. I mean, Tom Curran in other leagues has been phenomenal. He's in the T20 Blast. He's been scoring runs. He's been batting up the order, picking up wickets as well. Has a really good slower ball, but Chinnaswamy Stadium, you're not going to survive with those skills, man. You're going to go for runs. Like the slower balls will just sit up and just be smacked all over the park. It's not going to work. We saw how Harshal Patel did so good for RCB in places like Chennai and Dubai. But once he came to Chinnaswamy Stadium, he got a pounding. Tom Curran is a similar type of bowler. He would have got a pounding. What the only difference, he would have wasted an overseas slot as well on him, which we didn't have to do with Harshal. That's the only difference. But it's a good thing that he didn't get a chance. Otherwise SRH would have definitely crossed 300 that day. So in that way, I'm happy.
All right. And now we're going to talk about some
Just
uncapped players.
just to clarify though, no hate to any of these players. They're all quality players in their own rights. Just for RCB and that ground, they're just not the suitable types. That's why as an RCB fan, I'm just expressing my anguish at picking them and actually giving them opportunities on that kind of ground. That's it. All these players are quality. I'll just restate that.
Yeah, it's understandable. And we saw Lockie Ferguson play exceptionally well at the World Cup and in
Four
Major League Cricket.
maidens.
Yeah, and I mean, obviously it was against some minnows, but still, he had that exceptional spell. And then in Major League Cricket, he was one of the top wicket takers. We got to see that live. So yeah, it's not like it's a lack of quality. It's just the place they were playing, conditions. It's
Yeah,
just tough.
and just the brain to pick them was, I don't know, but at least they made some good decisions later on, so it's fine.
Yep. All right. So let's talk about some lesser known players, the uncapped players on the RCB side. There's names like Saurav Chauhan, Prabhu Desai, and quite a few other names. Do you guys want to take it away and talk about them?
Yeah, so first you mentioned Saurav Chauhan. They touted him to be the next Don Bradman of cricket. Like this was, I don't know if it was RCB fans who said that or the RCB management who said that. I think he played like he was Don Bradman when he was 5 years old. I'll be honest. Played 2 to 3 games, single digit scores. I didn't see anything special about the guy. Maybe he's good in the domestic circuit. I haven't done too much research on him, but didn't show anything exceptional to where he can be someone who can be groomed in the future. So I think Don Bradman still has a long way to go in terms of the left-handed Don
Yeah,
Bradman still has a lot to
many
do.
more players, many more players in that uncapped list. One of the players I wanted to talk about is Karan Sharma. He's not like he did play for India before, but with that uncapped rules, he's considered an uncapped player from now on. Um, yeah, first of all, he has won almost title in every team he's played, I think, except RCB. This I don't think so. They don't want to continue with him anymore. That's
Yeah,
it.
I
That's
I think the luck charm hasn't worked here, so I think we'll just give him to another team to try and win another cup. So, yeah.
yeah.
And then one other player I wanted to talk about in that uncapped list is Manoj Bandage. Now, I'd like to cover him at another time as well, but I think they didn't give him a chance. They didn't give him a game, but he's one of those guys who has a lot of talent, and he's one of those low availability players in India who, if groomed, could be a really big thing because he bats in the middle order as a finisher, left-handed finisher, and he bowls pace as well, which is a very rare commodity in our game today, especially being an Indian. Off the top of my head, I can only think of Hardik Pandya and Nitish Kumar Reddy, and we saw how Nitish Kumar Reddy came up the ranks from a nobody, and SRH gave him the chances to develop, and now he's playing for India as like the direct backup to Hardik Pandya, not even backup, like side player alongside Hardik Pandya. Such a low commodity that I feel they should have given him a chance and groomed him a bit more. But I'd really love to buy him back for base price or even a bit above base price to try and actually give him an opportunity, as this skill is something that's very in low commodity in Indian cricket at the moment.
Yeah, just
Yes.
give him a chance,
Excellent.
man. Just give him a chance.
Okay, and another one of those uncapped players that was there was Himanshu Sharma. He got a couple of chances for RCB, but didn't really shine much. I was seeing the lengths he bowled and very inconsistent with his lengths. I don't know if they tried to groom him to be the next Chahal or tried to bring up someone like that, but didn't really work out. He doesn't really bowl like consistent links, so I don't think he's been much of a find either as far as they're concerned. And then finally, I wanted to special shout out to Swapnil Singh. He came when RCB was 1-7 last year. I think it was a lucky charm, took them to 6 wins in a row into the playoffs, and batted played some crucial cameos at the end, took some important wickets, start every game, and I think he's a good player. I think he's 30 or he's kind of old right now, but he's someone RCB can look to buy back at a very cheap price and just continue to play him as that multi valued skill set with the bat and ball, and he's a good fielder as well. So he's someone they can try to buy back at base price.
Yeah, I agree with both of those points about all the players you talked about. One other player I wanted to bring up is Mayank Dagger. I'm not sure what kind of trade that went through between SRH and RCB when they
Uh,
did that trade. Mayank Dagger did play 1 or 2 games for RCB, but didn't do much impact there. I think Shabazz could have been better suited there, and we'll talk about how SRH did their stuff, but I think Shabazz did better stuff at SRH
yeah,
than
that's a
Mayank Dagger
classic.
did at RCB.
That's a classic case of searching for gold and losing diamond. I mean, I think Shabazz was such a good player for RCB with the bat and could give you a couple overs with the ball. I think RCB wanted a better spinner because they failed to pick them in the auction. So, or did that? I don't know if that trade went through before or after the auction exactly, but they they didn't have the spinners, so they just decided to go with Mayank Dogger with the lack of spinners available in the auction as well. And they didn't need Shabaz's batting, but I mean, it's one of those trades where it didn't make the whole lot of impact for RCB at the end. But yeah, I don't think they'll go back for him.
Just want to name a couple more names. Did we talk about Suyash Prabhadesai, Rajan Kumar,
Suyash
Himanshu
Prabhudesai.
Sharma? Yeah.
Yeah, Himanshu, I just talked about. Okay, cut that part. But uh,
Oh shit, my
Suyash,
bad.
it's fine, it's fine. Okay.
Okay, 3, 2.
Yeah, Suyash Prabhudesai, yeah, I think I've seen it. He's played a few games for RCB. He's shown some skill with the bat, but not as much as to where he's someone they could groom. They've given him a decent amount of opportunities. He hasn't had that breakout performance. If I don't know, I've not seen him bat in the nets. Maybe if they see something there, he's someone they could look to buy back because he won't go for that much. But yeah, I'm not too
Yeah, so
sure.
I think Suyash Prabhadesai was one of the players like with how they were dealing with like a lack of performances in the beginning of the year last year. They did give him a lot of chances in the beginning, and he did good in a few games and like iffy in the other ones. But yeah, I mean, I think you can get him back for base price at max.
Yeah, if they really want him back, they can get him
Yeah.
back. But yeah.
One other name I think we forgot is Mr. Rajan Kumar. I have no information on him, so I won't say anything. But you can.
If I'm not wrong, I've not done much research on him either. I think he's a left arm pacer. Just they brought him in to get that different variety with the left arm Indian pacer, but didn't really give him a chance. Plus, they bought Yash Dayal in, so he was able to take that role beautifully. So I don't see a need to go back to him. I've not really done. I don't know what his specialty skill set is, but if they really see something in the boy, they can get him back for base price because there's not been much going around word around him. But yeah, I don't know much about him either. I don't think he's someone they'll heavily target. If he falls, they'll take
Yeah,
him.
I think that's it for all the release players.
Yep, that's all the released players. And in the next episode, we're going to be giving a rundown of the auction strategy. All RCB fans have their own wish lists on who they want to purchase at the auction. And you already know Rahul has his own. So stay tuned for that, guys.
Quick clip, RCB fans, just to keep you interested. One of my viewpoints is to not take KL Rahul, and I'll explain why in the next video. So yeah,
Okay.
I mean,
just
if
watch
you've
that
seen
one to see why.
if you've seen the RCB subreddit, they're all about KL Rahul right now. So this might be a little
See, I love KL
controversial.
Rahul, but I'll explain why it'd be better not to take him. And I think a lot of people might disagree with me, but if you think about it in the long term, I think it'll be the best choice. So I'll let you know why.
All right. We'll see you guys then.